I'm Marcia Boyles, and I'm delighted to start our program today after that rousing introductory music with Ron Taylor, who is our new finance director. Ron, welcome.
Thank you very much, Marcia.
You said that this was the first time you had been on Channel 6.
Yes, it is.
Well, since this is your debut, I think we need to find out a good bit about your background. You've been here, you said 80 days?
Just over 80 days, correct.
All right. So you really are brand new to the community.
Brand new.
Ron, let's talk a little bit about your background. Where did you come from, and what have you been doing, and things like that?
Certainly. I spent probably the majority of my career in public accounting. I worked with PricewaterhouseCoopers for about 15 years, and I managed multiple national as well as global accounts for PwC. Worked on 4 different continents for the firm, and really had a great career. I left PwC about 5 years ago and went to work for CBRE, which is another consulting firm. And I managed
here in D.C.?
Here in the D.C. area, yes. And I managed their healthcare division and predominantly worked on the facilities management along with transaction management and project management services for CBRE for a major healthcare client here in the Mid-Atlantic area. Upon that consulting opportunity ending, I joined Erickson Living with a great level of enthusiasm, predominantly because of the Erickson values. Just in going through the interview process and that being something that was very much touted, it was really a great change for me versus looking at clients versus looking at revenue and whatnot, saying, hey, how do we ensure that the residents that we're serving, they are the focus of the intent of all that we do. So it was a great opportunity for me to join here at Erickson Living.
Well, I have to say that's an incredibly impressive background. Where did you come from originally?
Actually, Washington, D.C. is my first home. However, I grew up down in Tampa, Florida. I left there and went to undergraduate school in Huntsville, Alabama at Oakwood University. And after doing internships here in the D.C. area, I said, you know what, I think that's where I want to live for the rest of my life. We'll see how that pans out. I also did my graduate work at Regis University out in Denver, Colorado. And so I have a master's in finance from Regis University, and have really enjoyed traveling the breadth of this country as well as outside of the United States from a professional standpoint as well as a personal standpoint, and it's given me a lot of insight into how do we do whatever we do better. And so my area of expertise is finance and project management. So really I try to take everything that I have experienced and bring it to every new opportunity that I have.
Well, I think that's a wonderful attitude. I'm impressed with the breadth and depth of your background. I think that sounds amazingly appropriate for this kind of a community. Ron, what do you see as your top priority now in terms of your job here at Greenspring? You're overseeing not just the day-by-day activities of the finance office, but you're also overseeing, to one degree or another, investments, aren't you?
That is very true. So one of the things I think is extremely important is transparency. I want to make sure that our residents understand what we're doing to manage from a day-to-day standpoint, as well as manage long-term. Clearly, our biggest goal is not really trying to fix or trying to adjust to having funds for today, but how do we have funds for future residents? And that's really the entire premise of the Erickson model. Being able to say, yes, the investments that our current residents make, it creates opportunities for future residents. So my goal is to ensure that we do that in a way that is very fiduciary responsible, and ensuring that we really maintain not only the current lifestyle, but we can increase that for our future residents.
All right, let's talk a little bit about that. Our reserves are now 120 something.
As far as the dollar amount, or yes. So actually, we're close to $150 million.
Is it up to 150?
Yes.
All right. I think there has been some criticism that current residents are paying too much for the future. Do you think that's a legitimate concern? Now, $150 million is I think, probably the largest, is it not, reserve of any of the Erickson communities.
If I'm not mistaken, it is. And I don't necessarily think it is too much in reserve, predominantly because we have put off some of the capital investments that we need to make here at Green Springs. So as we go through some of that, yes, those reserves may come down, but it's really designed to ensure that in case of emergency, in case of issues that were unforeseen, we have the ability to not stop in any way, shape, or form.
No,
the way
I mean,
we work.
certainly one would want 2 or 3 or 4 years reserve. What is our annual budget?
Annual budget, we've just gone through that process because it actually started as I was, or finishing as I was coming on board. But the annual budget that we have in place is one that's designed to look at all of the costs, look at the management fee that is paid to Erickson on an annual basis, along with the covering for any increases in wages as well as capital investments. So all of that goes in. So those dollar amounts kind of fluctuate year to year, but our overall goal is really just to try to make sure that we have what's
Something
needed.
like $5 million?
Yes.
All right. So $150 million. I mean, we could last from now till 2090. With our reserves. I don't know that it's 2090.
I was about to pull out my calculator and figure that one out and see how correct you are.
If we figured it out, right, exactly right. But one would have to admit that the reserves are mighty, mighty at this point.
But I think after we go through some of the repositioning of Green Spring, also the repositioning of Town Center, I think we'll be in a situation where individuals will see where that money has gone and how it's really going to benefit current residents as well as future residents.
No, I don't think there's any question about the fact that certainly capital improvements, and I think their figure was 75 million, somewhere 80 million, somewhere in there. But again, I think justification of the increases each year based on the fact that the reserves continue to grow is a legitimate concern of some residents, at least. Or this has been voiced. And I'm sure I'm not telling you something you don't know.
I've only heard it once or twice.
Once or twice dozen, I'm sure. So at any rate, I think we all would hope that maybe that would be a point of consideration in looking each year at the increases.
Sure.
Which would certainly make sense to all of us. You wanted to talk a little bit. I see we're getting down here in terms of time. You wanted to talk about the incredible forums you're giving right now and how successful they've been.
Certainly.
Tell us about those.
One of the things that we try to do is really keep our residents informed, and we want to make sure that everyone is prepared for what the future holds. And so my team, under the direction of Dana Brown, is doing a move-out forum, which is really designed to look at, as a resident exits Green Springs for whatever reason, what is that process? This
would be either permanently or to transitioning over to Garden Ridge.
Correct. Well, more of really leaving the community as a whole.
Leaving the community as a whole.
Because,
I see.
The entire process is looks at, does an individual have the proper financial documents in place, the proper legal documents in place, wills, trusts, or estates? Do they have the right individuals assigned to lead those discussions on their behalf or in their absence? And so the move-out forums, there are 4 that we have scheduled between now and the beginning of March. One has already taken place and it was filled to capacity. Unfortunately, I was not there due to being away from the community that day.
That was 200 some people?
Yes, and the feedback, the comment cards we've gotten have been very positive.
Oh, good.
So we're really excited about that. There are 3 additional forums that are going to be underway. We are taking reservations for them. However, reservations need to be put in very quickly because most of them are filling up. But we are asking individuals to come, ask questions, learn about the process, because I think it helps set the proper expectations, not only for our residents, but also for their family members.
Yes, and this clearly has been a major issue. Ron, where would one get an application form, a registration form? At this point, are they at the front desk?
They are actually in the finance office, and so we ask that if individuals are interested, please come down by tomorrow afternoon, because we are trying to pull those in, because we think that almost every form will be completed or sold out by then. So we do ask that individuals come in no later than tomorrow.
Well, you're clearly filling a huge need, community need. So I think that is incredible. The fact that they're all sold out at this point, that's very good news. Anything else, Ron, you'd like to leave us with? We're delighted to have you. You know, somebody with your experience and background. This is just enormously helpful to us. So,
well, I'm excited to be here. It's been a great transition for me. But one of the things I want to make sure our residents are very aware of, finance is always open. If there's ever any questions, please stop by, either make an appointment to see me or just walk in. We want to make sure that the level of customer service that we deliver, it's going to meet the needs of our residents. So while, yes, we all wear a finance hat, there is a customer service element to all that we do as well. So we want individuals to come in and we'll work to try to make sure all their needs are met.
well, I think your attitude is great, and certainly your background is most appropriate for this. So we welcome you, Ron, and hope to see you for many years to come.
Without a doubt, I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for
Thank
coming
you.
today. We'll stop now and have a roll-in.